Whiskey Tango Foxtrot has gotten into the head of Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. Ron DeSantis served an excellent term as governor of Florida, during which time he signed some groundbreaking legislation. Or so I thought at the time. Now, this legislation included the anti-grooming bill and the bill to revoke Walt Disney World's status as a semi-autonomous governing unit. The other day he made that final, in fact. But several commentators, including two of his fellow governors, have hinted darkly that he doesn't go far enough. Now, over the last week, he has taken several actions that utterly belie his reputation as a defender of liberty. Worse, some of his supporters are starting to behave like cult defenders. I go further. They are no better than Biden's diehards. Hey, if the shoe fits, wear it. But for the rest of you, I know. I owe you an explanation, and I'm going to give you one. But first, I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of great merchandise there. Especially this t-shirt that I have chosen for today, which quotes Plato as saying, "No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth." Or, as in this case, she. You'll find out whom I'm talking about very quickly. One more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, you can like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new one. In fact, do you see the new icon, the heart shape with the US dollar sign in it? That's the super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click that and leave me a tip. Any currency will do, as long as it's legal tender. Now, this isn't the first time Ron DeSantis has taken heat from the right. And no, I am not talking about Donald Trump calling him Ron DeSanctimonious. I'm going to start with Laura Loomer, the most banned woman in America. She has long suspected Ron DeSantis of honoring his commitment to liberty more in the breach than otherwise. Now, it is true that Governor DeSantis did sign a law forbidding big tech companies to censor political candidates. But the law wouldn't have helped her in any case, and it had a serious flaw in it, and a court threw it out. A Texas law to similar effect still stands. Loomer concluded that DeSantis crafted a law he knew was flawed. As evidence, she points out that she offered to make suggestions on how such a law might pass muster, and DeSantis declined her offer. More recently, she ran for Congress in the Republican primary in Florida's 11th District and lost. Within days, she developed evidence of serious problems in Orange County, the one county her opponent carried. I've talked to you about all this before. In this regard, she accuses DeSantis of not taking seriously the shortfalls in election integrity in Florida. She attributes her loss to those continued problems and to exploitation of same by Representative Daniel Webster, who beat her in the primary, won the general, and is absent from the House half the time. Representative Webster is almost as sick a man as is Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. Now, with that kind of history, I wouldn't blame most of you for regarding any criticism of DeSantis by Laura Loomer as self-serving. But Governors Kristi Noem of South Dakota and Nikki Haley of South Carolina have each pointed out ways that Governor DeSantis has fallen short in the defense of liberty. Noem never locked down her state. DeSantis locked down his. And Haley asked whether the anti-grooming bill still allows grooming beyond the 3rd grade. Ideally, no teacher should discuss matters that pertain to sex until a kid hits, well, they called it junior high in my day. These days they call it upper middle school, by which I mean the 7th grade. Bear all this in mind when considering what DeSantis did when he held a book signing at a Florida bookstore. On February 28th, he appeared at Books A Million in Leesburg, Florida, to sign copies of his book, The Courage to Be Free. Laura Loomer decided to go and invited members of Villagers for Trump to appear with her wearing Trump gear and carrying Trump signs. They were going to hold a rally in the mall parking lot. I have a link in the description to the invitation she sent out on Twitter to people in Lake and Sumter counties, and especially residents of the Villages. But when they showed up to the rally, things went bizarre. Police came out and ordered Loomer and her pro-Trump people to leave. I have a link in the description to Loomer's tweet describing what happened, with embedded video, and also a tweet from the Daily Mail linking to their story, a story that backs Laura Loomer up in every particular. This officer, wearing a badge, actually said that DeSantis and his people inside Books A Million told the police to say that anyone wearing Trump had to leave. He also said that he was just doing his job. Well, once again, I'm going to quote Michael Pollock as Lieutenant Junior Grade Sam Weinberg, U.S. Navy, in A Few Good Men. An argument that didn't work for William Calley and My Lai, an argument that didn't work for the National Socialists at Nuremberg. Ladies and gentlemen, this is nuts! Nothing like this has ever happened before. When Governor George Wallace of Alabama ran for president in 1968 as an independent, several people showed up to one of his rallies carrying Nixon signs. Wallace did not expel them. Instead, he contented himself with addressing them directly and telling them how wrong he thought they were. I wasn't at that rally. I was just a kid then, but I did catch it on TV, on the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite, as a matter of fact. So you see, I remember. And for DeSantis to expel those people as he did, which Wallace did not, does not accord with the defense of free speech that he claims to champion. Loomer said that he was anti-free speech, and he sure looked like it on that occasion. Loomer did have a slight confrontation with members of a group calling themselves Goyim Defense League, who were also present. I have a link in the description to her tweet describing what happened. For those of you who don't know, Goy in Hebrew means nation or national, anyone other than a Jew. Goyim is the plural. In other words, this was the Gentile Defense League. And I have absolutely no brief for people like that. Do you know what they actually told Laura Loomer to go back? They actually told her to go back home to Israel. In fact, she is a natural-born citizen of the United States. And though she professes the Jewish faith, she has no plans at this time to emigrate to Israel. But the point is, she didn't mind those people being there. She is absolute on freedom of speech. She'll give you an argument, but she won't suggest that you have to leave a public space. What she minds is DeSantis expelling her and her supporters, and not them. Loomer left several more tweets, 4 of them, and I have links to all of them. She has video of herself with some of the Village's residents. Another video of that policeman, or maybe he was just doubling as a security guard at the time, telling them to leave. And another video where she quotes the cop as saying, "The DeSantis people are in there saying, and had me come out to tell you guys not to be here while he's here signing his book." Close quote. In the 4th tweet, she says, if this is part of DeSantis' blueprint for Florida, this from the subtitle of his book, she wants no part of it, and I don't blame her. Almost at once, people actually accused her of staging the scene. I have links to 4 tweets of her replies, and 1 tweet from another person who was right there with her and backed up her account. Now understand this. Never at any time did Laura Loomer or anyone accompanying her try to get into Books A Million. They were in the parking lot. And in Florida, that is a place of public accommodation. Unless someone is creating a disturbance, or worse than that, even mall security has to let them stay. Anyone wearing Trump has to leave isn't going to fly. So she challenged those accusing her of staging the scene to call the bookstore, as someone said that he would be easy to do. Well, he said he would, and that she had no right to be on a privately owned parking lot and harass customers. First, she was not harassing anyone. Second, somebody needs to read Florida law on public accommodations. There's a reason for my mentioning that phrase. Wait for it. Someone else accused her of forcing her company inside the building, which she denied doing, and the videos back her up. And so did that other witness. As I said, she also pointed out the hypocrisy of the police or security, whoever, allowing people to stay who are protesting DeSantis' cancellation of the Advanced Placement African American Studies course. They were standing on the grass, and the police or security or whoever said Laura Loomer and her crowd had to stay on the sidewalks. Double standards. This episode has cost the governor several votes. I have linked to 4 tweets from outraged voters saying they'll likely never vote for Ron DeSantis, even if he waits until 2028 to run for president. The arguments actually continued, even yesterday morning and afternoon. Before I describe them, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is oursilverlines.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You are not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the last few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silverlines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Now, whether you just want to collect rare, unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities this company provides, either way, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com. Learn how you can build a legacy for your future. Now, clearly, Governor DeSantis knows that he cannot defend this action, so his supporters continue to deny it. I have links in the description to 2 tweets of a 3-tweet thread in which Laura Loomer argued with a man named Eric L. Daugherty. He said he called the bookstore. Well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. He said the bookstore told him that the mall, not they, handles security. Then he said there was no evidence that DeSantis people ordered Loomer's removal. Ladies and gentlemen, I just quoted you what that guard or rent-a-cop or whoever said. Play the video and hear for yourselves. In the height of irony, the Young Turks, a far-left organization, did a segment on this. They called this the moment DeSantis lost the 2024 nomination. Laura Loomer featured that video, no doubt because a broken clock does tell the correct time once every 12 hours. She also recorded this account on her own YouTube channel. I have links in the description to both videos. Even Andrew P. Napolitano, former judge of the Superior Court of New Jersey, Essex Vicinage, weighed in. He found DeSantis in violation of the First Amendment and Florida's public accommodation law. One thing had Loomer and her followers tried to enter the bookstore, but they did not. And now you know why I mentioned public accommodations. Yesterday, Mr. Bill Mitchell, another DeSantis supporter and apparently a present or former talk show host, thought he could debunk her claim. That didn't work out very well. He actually said that the Constitution does not protect free speech on private property. Hey, Mr. Mitchell, we've heard enough of that from Facebook, Google, and pre-bus Twitter without hearing it from you or DeSantis or any other supporter of his. You heard Judge Andrew Napolitano talk about Florida's public accommodation law. Well, then again, maybe I can't expect you to know about that. But I jolly well expect Governor DeSantis to know about the laws of the state he governs. Turns out this Bill Mitchell has a history with Trump, so Laura Loomer called him out on it. She said, quote, "You made so much money off of Trump, and now you're just a washed-out, sellout DeSantis diddler. Oi, gewalt!" So then he asked whether DeSantis did any worse than Trump throwing out a few protesters from his rallies. And she pointed out something anyone can check out, namely that the protesters at the Trump rallies were doing more than protesting. They were creating disturbances, and they were doing it according to a plan that Hillary Clinton's campaign hatched back in 2016. And the reason Laura Loomer would know that is that she used to work for Project Veritas and was a part of the undercover operation that exposed that behavior. I also have a link from another user whose account name is not Alex Shepard, whatever that means. He has video of Mike Lindell calling out DeSantis at the Conservative Political Action Conference, saying he didn't do enough to fight the Disney company, that the media is running cover for him, and that he is, in fact, a Trojan horse for the left. Loomer wrote in greater detail about this affair on her Substack page, and I have a link in the description to her article. There she also pointed out that in Florida, no office holder may seek other office while still holding the first office. He must resign, such as the resign to run law in Florida. Loomer charges that the governor is skirting the law, running a non-campaign campaign. She predicts that Florida's legislature, toward the end of the session, that'll be in May, will amend or repeal the resign to run law. Then DeSantis will announce his primary challenge to Donald J. Trump. But as bad as this affair is, something worse is cooking up in the Florida legislature. I have a link in the description to House Bill 269, defining public nuisances. That bill is now in the Florida Senate. At issue is this proposed new section of the Florida statutes. Quote, "A person who willfully follows, harasses, or interferes with another person's quiet enjoyment based on the person's wearing of religious-based garments or garments commonly associated with a particular religious or ethnic group or any other indicia of any religious or ethnic heritage commits the offense of aggravated stalking, a felony of the third degree, punishable as provided in Section 775.082 through 084. A violation of this subsection shall be considered a hate crime for purposes of the reporting requirements of Section 877.19. Close quote. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot! You expect to read that in the laws of the state of New York! I have links in the description to 2 tweets by a reporter named Chris Nelson decrying this bill, and another tweet by Laura Loomer citing this as further evidence that DeSantis is not a friend of liberty. Worse than that law is this proposed law requiring anyone who comments on Governor DeSantis to register with the state, to register in the Office of Legislative Services. Those who refuse, decline, or otherwise fail to do so would face a fine. The Attorney General and other members of state government would have the same protection. I have a link in the description to Laura Loomer's tweet describing that atrocity, and also to a Dick Morris lunch alert that came out yesterday sounding his own alarm. What Judge Andrew Napolitano would have to say about this, I think you all know. And now my analysis. I would almost say psychoanalysis, except that my postgraduate training was in pathology, not psychiatry, and certainly not psychoanalysis. But I will begin with this observation by Benjamin Franklin, who paraphrased Sophocles in his classic play Antigone. He said, quote, "Whom the Lord wishes to destroy, he first makes mad," close quote. Maybe you didn't know that Ben Franklin said that, did you? He probably said it in Latin, but he still said it. So, what do we have? We have seen Ron DeSantis exclude detractors, and not only that, to disrupt a rival's campaign rally, however unofficial it might have been, and not to say that Donald Trump authorized it either. No other candidate ever did a thing like that. And when he did that, he violated the Constitution and his own state's public accommodation law. We have also seen legislators friendly to him propose laws definitely not friendly to liberty. Is Laura Loomer correct in saying that Ron DeSantis always had a tyrannical mindset? We can definitely say that something we do not want to see in a presidential candidate has happened to him. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I will not comply with any such registration law. It ill befits a state governor to emulate CISA or GEC or pre-Musk Twitter. If Ron DeSantis expects to run for president someday, whether he resigns his governorship or not, in 2024 or 2028, he now has many questions to answer. They actually go back to why he did lock down Florida, only to turn against those who promoted a rationale for it. Recall that Kristi Noem did not do it even when nearly every other state governor did. And why can't he write an anti-big tech censorship law that will pass muster if Governor Greg Abbott of Texas can? Will he have good answers? Stay tuned. Links to the description to the article, to Laura Loomer's tweet inviting people to a rally in the mall parking lot, to 2 tweets from Loomer and the Daily Mail with video and story of the expulsion, to the tweet describing that little dust-up with the GDL, to 4 more tweets from Loomer about the expulsion, to 5 tweets from her and a supporting witness responding to allegations that she staged that whole thing, to the 1 tweet describing the double standard in that they let the African American Studies protesters stay, to 4 tweets from people whose votes he just lost, to the Eric Daugherty argument thread, to 2 YouTube videos from the Young Turks and from Laura Loomer herself, to Loomer embedding a statement from Judge Napolitano, to the Bill Mitchell dialogue tweets, to the tweet with video of Mike Lindell calling DeSantis out at CPAC, to Laura Loomer's Substack article, to HB 269, to Chris Nelson's 2 tweets and Laura Loomer's 1 tweet about that bill, to Laura Loomer's tweet and Dick Morris lunch alert about the registration law, to my Declarations of Truth Twitter account and the Conservative News and Views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV store and ourcivilized.com, as I also mentioned. You know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. On the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link to my channel and a link to a brand new Florida political playlist and to both videos from the Young Turks and Laura Loomer on YouTube about this incident. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.